Good morning, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. Today is the 8th of June. It's a Saturday, and the moon is in Cancer. We've just come off a new moon in Gemini. And today we do have a major aspect. We have a square between Venus and Saturn. Saturn is an energy of often restriction. We can feel like there's a dearth with Saturn. Saturn is the great tester. Saturn in Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. There is a sense of, in its way, finishing things up. The interesting thing about Saturn in Pisces is that Saturn is an energy of structure. It's an energy of building, and yet Pisces, as the last sign of the zodiac, is an energy of dissolution. So there is a simultaneously building energy and dissolution energy. And I often think, Saturn as a tester in the sign of Pisces is a testing of our dreams. Can we make our dreams a reality, right? Saturn in Pisces is also the sign associated with a spiritual mission. So on some level, we're all going through this sort of spiritual questioning, mission. What are we here for, right? What's the point? Is it all, everything sort of washes out in the, dissolves out in the wash? Does anything matter? Is anything real? These are all sort of questions that we ask, and we can look around at what's going on in the world and say, is this really happening? Right? Is this really happening? So there's that, that's part of the energy. Now, Venus is an energy of, to a certain extent, solidity. Venus likes guarantees. Venus likes to know that her needs will be met. Venus likes to know that her relationships are solid. Venus, likes, really just likes to get what she wants, honestly. And this is a first quarter square between those two energies. And first quarter squares are crisis in action. It's part of a cycle between Venus and Saturn. Venus and Saturn cycles are about building something based on our desires. And because there's, I think, a sense of going beyond your desires here, having it be less about you, but more about humanity. And why do I say that? Well, because the initial conjunction of this was in Pisces. Now, Venus is exalted in Pisces, whereas Saturn isn't that happy in Pisces, but Venus is quite happy, jubilant even in Pisces. And they come together once a year, and then Venus moves on because it moves faster, and then makes these aspects to where Saturn sits. The initial conjunction occurred at around 13 degrees of Pisces. Sabian symbol for 13 degrees of Pisces was a sword in a museum. Alluding to that sort of idea of Excalibur, right? But the meaning of that symbol, at least according to Dane Rudger, is a focused intention. So the initial conjunction of Venus, what we love, what we value, what's important to us, conjunct Saturn, the planet of testing, or even the planet of reality. This symbol of a sword in a museum, having to have a complete focus on of what you want to accomplish, perhaps what you want to bring in, what you want to love, what it is that is important to you, Venus. But also on another sort of spiritual level, it's as if we were being asked to take up the sword of truth here, right? And we can see all kinds of truths actually coming out now in places, not just, Donald Trump and what's going on with him. But I was thinking about how there have been other people who have been considered powerful and successful, who the truth is coming out about, and the rot, and that in a lot of these cases, the power comes from an abuse, right? It's almost as if Venus and Saturn are coming together and saying, focus on this, right? I don't know. So anyway, that's some things going through my mind this morning. I woke up with a pretty active imagination, which incidentally, Venus and Pisces can be a very active imagination. But if you can't imagine it, you can't create it. It starts in the imagination first, okay? The creative imagination comes before the reason and the steps to get there, okay? First you have to see the picture in your mind. Today we have a square between Venus and Saturn. It's a first quarter crisis and action square. So perhaps we need to take up that sword, right? However, just on a practical level, Venus square Saturn, you will feel like you're not getting your needs met, that somebody's blocking you, okay? You're being blocked to get what you want. Now, Venus is at 20 degrees of Gemini. Saturn, of course, at 20 degrees of Pisces. Now, Saturn is pretty much almost sitting still at this time because at the end of the month, it is going to turn retrograde. Saturn is to the point as far as it's going to move forward before it starts to move retrograde, and then it will go forward again. But it has moved up to that 20th degree, which is interesting because that is the second decan of Pisces. And so Saturn has made its way to just to the beginning of the last decan and is now backing up. As far as decans are concerned, the second decan of Pisces is a moon-ruled decan. So it seems very personal. Restrictions. Charlie, what are you doing? Oh my, look at this cat. What are you doing, you crazy cat? You heard him howl, right? And then he jumps out and he jumps on what are you doing? He's like, I'm raising the sword. Oh, look at this. It's beautiful. Imagine what the world looks like to him right now. All adventure as everything is moving around him. Hi, baby. You interrupted Mama. Let's continue. So there's this sense of perhaps lifting up that sword. Now, but we feel restricted. Now, I just want to point out that Venus is pretty much on Trump's sun right now. And Saturn is squaring his sun, squaring his nodes, squaring his Uranus. He is not a happy camper. He is not getting what he wants. He's not getting what he's used to getting. And he's being held accountable, which is a wonderful and lovely thing. And even though this hush money election interference case seemed like the least important case, perhaps it was the most important case, because if it wasn't for this, he might not have won the presidency, right? And our lives would have been very different if that had come out. But everything happens for a reason, and we don't always know what that is. It's all part of our evolution. So for us as individuals sort of living through this, we have to ask ourselves, what actions do we need to take? What actions do we need to take to be on our spiritual journey? This is a time when the light and the dark are strong, but the light is stronger. The light always dispels the darkness. And so even though you're feeling restricted, perhaps things aren't going the way that you want, persistence matters. Persistence matters. We're actually building foundations for a life that means something to us, Venus. And because it all started in Pisces, that is spiritually aligned with our most compassionate selves. So even if you feel held back today and things don't feel like they're going your way, that's okay. This is what builds character. This is what separates those who can and those who get stopped as soon as a bump comes along the road, right? So it is can be a somewhat of a frustrating day, but ultimately put your head down, do due diligence, do the work you need to do. We don't always get what we want, and that's okay, because it usually means that there's something better down the road. All right. Charlie, oh, there he is. It's just loving life in the yard today. Have yourself a wonderful day. Check out my week ahead. I just put that out, I think, yesterday. Interesting week. It's a lot of square. Like we have this square today. That's a story. There's a story about feeling blocked, but having to work through it this week. So you can check that out if you like. You can check out my Moon Shadows episode with Ona on my channel. Moon Shadows, new moon in Gemini. It's not too long either. I think it's about a half hour. And what else? Did I put anything else out? Well, I might have put something else out. I can't remember right now. I have been putting out a lot of videos. So, all right. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. So, enjoy it. Much love. Namaste.